You guys can all see it now. And yeah, so today I'm gonna run you through a basic MVC app and how it works from the very beginning to the end. And lucky for you guys, it's actually a very simple app. And how most, if you want to learn most technologies, the to-do list way of building a to-do list app or CRUD functionality is going to help you understand how to use the technology at its very basis. So let's go back into our documents. I'll leave a link in the bio for all this information. But let's understand what MVC is. MVC is a design pattern that's used to make apps. So if you look at other technologies like Rails, Django, Cake PHP, and Rails, they all use the same consistent design pattern, which is MVC. Um, what does MVC stand for? It stands for Model, View, and Controller. So let's go ahead and look at our first aspect or of this framework, which is our models. So if I go back to our to do item CS, which is in our models, as you can see here, we have the ID, we have the title, and we have the is completed. And if we go onto our app and we go to create new, we have those same uh, data types available to view and to fill in. So here's what the nice thing is that we can migrate our models, which are here, into our database, which is here. So as you can see, I have a SQL Server Object Explorer on our side, and here are the columns of my database. So I have my to-do list database here, which I specified within my migrations. Okay, cool. So I have my application db.context CS here. This is where all the data is. And this is going to tell you that this is migrating our data into our SQL Server on the side here. So initial create. So this is all the stuff that you put into your package manager. So your package manager. You don't have to worry about too much about this because we actually go into our tools and we go here to our console, and you can see that I added my initial migration and then I updated my database. So once you create your models and you create your data, your models and your data, and you migrate, you will then see on the side here when you open up your database that all your items are here. So if you go into your columns and you'll see that you have your ID, your title, and it's completed. And when you go into your to-do items.cs models, you'll have your ID, your title is completed. So that's for our models, right? Now we're going to have a look at the most important part, which is our controller. And now this is where this diagram will play a nice role in understanding exactly what MVC is. So if you could think about your user, and your user is going to interact with your app, it's first of all, he's going to interact with the controller because that handles all the interactions. If you could think about your controller, is it handles the interactions, the models handle the data, and the view is just going to obviously view or display whatever data or information that you have within your app, which I showed earlier, which is your ID, your title, and your is completed. Uh, the the CRUD functionality actually all happens in this controller, which I'll show you a little bit later. And that's kind of where all the magic happens. So the controller and the views kind of work hand in hand. So I will show you this now. When we go into our controller, you'll see a statement called return view. This is where all the magic happens. So we have our home controller, which is gonna just this is all your basic interaction. So if you click on one of these links, you go to your privacy. Hold on, if you go back to your home. Oh no. Oh, we don't have those. Oh, I deleted those. But okay, let's say we go back to our to-do list items and we go and click create. Create. Nice. So it's not nullable as well. So if you go and click create, we're gonna return the view. Okay. And now we have our view set up in to-do items. So it's gonna have its directory or source set up here to do items that create, which is right here to do items that create, and we're gonna return the view. So what does this? It's a simple form right here. So what is it? What's it doing is it's calling let's go back to our controller to do items of controller. It's calling uh public result creates. It's creating a method, it's opening, and it's returning the view of that create, which is in our to-do list items, which you can see here. So it's getting that and displaying that. Think about gets and sets, which you should know by now, is the basics. Gets and sets. And that's all we're doing for each of these pages is that so it's also asynchronous as well. So it's the program is running from top to bottom. And you can see this here as well. So that's what the controller does. As you can see here, it's handling all the actions or interactions and it's returning the view. So whatever interaction that you have, it's going to return a view from the directory that you've given it within your files. And then we go into our views here, and we see we're returning it. This part of the stuff you should know as well, that the importing and importing models and stuff, which is fairly simple. And the main part of this MVC is actually the controller, because the controller is where all the magic happens. Um, the most important part that I think people need to understand is that when you're building MVC apps in industry, it's very easy to build with MVC. And here's why: is because the designers or the web designers like myself, I've just recently gotten into full stack, but the web designers can work on the views, right? So if you wanted to create a team and build an app, the web designer is going to work on the views, the database admins are going to work on the models, and the controller and the programmers are going to work on the controllers. So it's a brilliant way to build apps. And the not repeating yourself part is a bit more complicated because you can actually save controllers and save views and save models and reuse them in different projects. You do have to like obviously integrate it and obviously change the imports and stuff like that, and obviously change some of the naming conventions. But that's why so many people are using MVC, and that's why it's been around for so long and it works so well, is because you can use multiple developers on the project and they all have their own home or their own space within the project. For example, as I said, web designers will work on the view, the database admins would work on the models, and the controllers, that would be for your database. I mean, sorry, your controllers, that would be for your programmers.